So the new Clash of Clans update just came out on the 24th of March, and a lot of players have been like freaking out because we got this thing called no training time. However, there's still training times in the game, and a lot of players are like, what? Even when you go into the news tab, you'll see this section where it starts off with training times are out of here. And then they kind of go into the portion where they talk about the removal of the training potion, the training treat, the training boost perks have been removed, and that there'll be a new perk taking the place of the training boost in the season pass. And then when we get down into this portion right here, it discusses matchmaking changes to where when you get a shield from either defense or purchase, a clone of your base enters the matchmaking pool. Most of this stuff you won't even realize is happening on the back end of the game anyways. Attackers will get resources and trophies from attacking clone bases, but the defender will not lose any trophies or resources, so you don't have to be double tapped on losing resources and trophies, so you don't really worry about that either. Matchmaking will always prioritize real player bases. You'll only be matched with clone bases when there are few available opponents to find. Essentially what they're trying to avoid here is clouding when this thing takes effect. Now this is the portion of the blog post that doesn't make any sense to anybody out there right now because it says Army training got a glow up. Say hello to Army recipes. Army training has been upgraded with a snazzy new user interface and menus. Creating, editing, and sharing your armies is now easier and more fun than ever. Army recipes will arrive on March 27th, okay? So we're gonna take a look at what that looks like because what you have in game right now is old, outdated, and it needs to be improved. So inside of the developer build, I'm gonna get to show you what this looks like. Are you ready? Well, you know the icon has changed for the training tab. It's got the barbarian and what looks to be a clone spell. Well, let's take a look at that new user interface for Clash Anytime. Here we go. We got our army tab, and you're gonna see a section of heroes, and then you got an empty space for your troops and your spells, your siege machines, and your clan castle troops. Dude, this is super exciting because this thing is fully interactive. Now, first things first, whatever you had saved in your hero hall, as well as your blacksmith and the pet house, whatever was assigned before, is going to be the default when this thing goes live. So as you can see, we got heroes, king, queen, warden, royal champion, as well as the abilities that we had assigned, whatever. So we can click on our barbarian king and we can change out everything without having to back out of this menu and go to those buildings. We can go to our minion prince and we can adjust what pet he has available to him, whether it's we add the phoenix or the spirit fox, whatever we choose, and then we can also reassign his abilities. So quickly, I must mention that we are playing at Town Hall 17 to show a full demonstration of this new UI because we'll have the pets available and all the heroes, etc. But if you're playing at a lower Town Hall level, the heroes that you don't have unlocked, they'll just be empty slots until you unlock those heroes, okay? So let's go ahead and build an army so I can show you the full thing in action on the first tab, which is army. So we have an army that's saved. We're gonna go ahead and change our heroes real fast. So we got the minion prince first, and the minion prince will have the spirit fox, as well as the abilities being metal pants. So we have to select each of these options and change the options out. The second ability will be dark orb, so we're good to go there. Then we'll touch the screen and that will go away. And then we can move on to our next hero, which is the archer queen. The pet assigned will be unicorn and the abilities will be giant arrow, as well as the healer puppet. Moving on to the grand warden, you'll notice that we have the option to change the warden's mode from ground to air right below next to the king as an option, but the pet assigned to him will be Diggy. So let's select Diggy. The first ability is Eternal Tome, and the next ability is Rage Gem. And then moving on to the Royal Champion, the pet assigned will be Phoenix. And then the abilities I have written down here, I unfortunately do not have available, Electro Boots and Rocket Spear. So we're gonna go ahead and choose Hog Rider Puppet as well as Haze Vial. And that's it for the heroes. They are ready to go. And that will change once we jump through different armies. I'll show you an example of that. Our army itself is made up of all dragons, but but when we select the option to fill out our army, you'll see this slide up menu, and then we have all the options of troops available to us will be here in this menu. So let's go ahead and select all of the dragons that we wanted, which I believe is 17, and then we're going to click out of that. All you have to do is touch the screen and that will go out, and then we're going to go down to the spells. So the spells for this army is 9 invisibilities, and as we get close to filling it up, they will start graying out. The next 2 options will be earthquakes. All the spells are grayed out. That means that it's full, and we can move on to our siege machines. Now these are the siege machines that are available to us from our own workshop, not the ones that are donated to us. So we're just going to go ahead and add 3 different options. That way, if we're in battle and we choose to do something else, we have those available to us. Now for the clan castle. So we can select or pre-select our clan castle request by selecting the option like you did the previous ones. And I believe this request is 2 Yetis and 1 goblin. Actually, I think it's 3 Yetis. There we go. 3 Yetis, 1 goblin, and then our spells is Poison Rage. And then we wanted to request a battle blimp and a siege barracks. And then we're going to click out of that. And you'll notice that each of the options for the clan castle are grayed out. That means that we do not have them yet. We have to request those still. So we have the options to the right, which allows us to use either raid medals. And if we don't want to use raid medals, then we can send a request to the clan chat like you were able to do before. Now, from the perspective of the donator, when the request hits the chat, it will pop up in the clan chat like it's always done before. When you click donate, though, you'll notice that there are different options available. So we have donation resource, or we can do donate by gems. One of the two by clicking the 2 options at the top. Now, I must mention that since this is an instant army system, you're no longer donating troops directly from your army. Now they're costing us either elixir for barracks troops, dark elixir for dark barracks troops, and then either elixir or dark elixir per spell factory. And then the same thing will also apply to the siege machines. So instead of being free in a way, they want to have some form of obstacle when it comes to donations, because you know you have the timer, as well as now costing a little bit of resources to donate troops to your clanmates. So we can go ahead and fill this request by spending 27,000 elixir, my goodness, per Yeti, 3,000 per goblin, 45,000 for the siege machine, the first one, 18,000 for the rage, and then obviously we would have to re-request because this is like a level 1 clan. Now back on the account that requested the troops, you'll see that the icons that have troops that came from the donator are now visible, and then you have 2 other options that are still grayed out because we're waiting on those to be filled. But we can go ahead and choose to use our raid medals to fill that request. And at the top, next to the army tab word, there is a button that allows you to save this as an army recipe. And so we can go ahead and save this army right here in the first slot for army recipes. We'll explore this menu a little bit more here in a second. But if we go back to our army tab, we can select attack directly from this menu, and it'll take us to the location where we can either do a multiplayer battle or a single player battle, or go into practice, which doesn't really make any sense because those are pre-filled armies anyways. So we're going to go ahead and select an attack, and we're just going to drop all of our troops so we can show you that the army automatically retrains. So we're just going to drop a few things all over the screen. Doesn't really matter. Go ahead and drop a couple of those. We can release our pets and heroes and all that stuff, and then we're going to go ahead and surrender and go back to our training tab, and you'll see that everything is right there ready to go. Also, a really cool feature that might easily be overlooked until you do it yourself is that the skins will populate in the training tab as well. So let's go ahead and change the queen skin to the champion queen. That's one of my favorites, actually. We're going to do the same thing for the grand warden, and then we can go back into our training, and you'll see that those 2 skins will populate on the heroes in this menu. Now let's explore the army recipes. So we saved the first army that we built a moment ago, and one of the really cool things about this new system is for those players that have been playing a really long time, who remembers having to save their clan castle request per army as the name of the army, because we didn't have an option for clan castle requests, right? Well, this feature is completely overhauled in a way to where we can build an entire army that's going to exchange with the army that we have on the army tab. So let's go ahead and build another army in this section and save it. And one of the big things that I want to mention before I forget is that the army in this section will automatically save. So you don't have to worry about where you click the screen somewhere else and it backs out and you lose all of your progress, which happens in the current version of the game. So our heroes for this one would be Barbarian King, and then we have Spirit Fox, and his abilities are Quake Boots as well as Spiky Ball. Don't have Spiky Ball, so we're just going to go ahead and stay with the Rage Gem or Rage Vial. Let's go to the Queen, and she has Unicorn, Giant Arrow, Healer, Puppet. It's already default, it stays the same, so we can go ahead and move on from that. And then we have Warden with Diggy, and his abilities is Rage Gem and Eternal Tome, so we're good to go there. And then we have Champion with the Phoenix and Rocket Spear Electro Boots, which I don't have, so we're going to stick with this selection here. Moving on to the Army, it has 10 Yetis, so there we go. You'll see that there's a pop-up that says Save Changing, or Saving Changes. Then we have 4 Root Riders, as well as 1 Minion and 1 Headhunter and 4 Furnaces. And then moving into the spells, we have 9 invisibility spells. Man, invisibility spells are super popular right now, apparently. As well as 1 revive spell. We can also add a couple of different options for siege machines. And then most importantly, the clan castle request. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I cannot emphasize how thankful I am that they finally added this. So the request for this one would be 3 Yetis, and that's it. We don't want anything else, just that. So we're gonna go ahead and do Poison Rage, as well as Blimp and Siege Barracks, and that is saved. When we click the green arrow out of it, you'll notice that it is in the second slot. And we can also rename this army as well to whatever we choose it to be. We'll just leave it Army 2 for the sake of example, but there you go. That is our second army. Now, you have the options to the right of that says use, or edit, or share. So you can still share these armies to your clan chat, as well as a link to send outside of the game. And then you also have the option to click use. So you'll notice that our army right now is 17 dragons, and these are the options for our heroes. With the selected equipment, you'll notice that Minion Prince has the metal pants. Actually, Minion Prince gets replaced anyways, but regardless, click use. The recipes clan castle will not be used because you already have reinforcements. So keep in mind that you need to have an empty clan castle if you're trying to change armies. So we can go back to our army tab, click the trash can, remove the clan castle troops, and we can go back to the army recipes, click use, and it's going to change the entire army. You'll see that we have the king in its slot with the selected abilities. The clan castle troop request is filled in. All we have to do is either use raid medals or requests from our clan mates again to fill this request. So let's go ahead and use raid medals for this example. And now we have our army automatically ready to go for our next attack or our clan war, etc. All right, so let's say that one of our clanmates sends an army that they're using that they really like, and we want to save it to our army recipes. Well, it can be added to the chat, like I mentioned earlier, and we're going to click copy, and it's going to bring up the army recipes menu. And I want to mention that there are 7 slots for saved armies. It's a lot more than we currently have. But let's go ahead and click the Save Army option for the 3rd slot. And you'll notice that the name of this one is Imported Army 3. And you'll also see that there are super troops in this army composition. So let's go back to our army tab where we have to clear out our clan castle troops. Let's go back to army recipes and let's click use. Now, bringing in the new army, you'll see that the heroes have changed, the abilities have changed based on what was in the previous composition, although it looks like the champion's a little different from what I believe the army to be. I don't really know. That might be wrong, but either way, you'll notice that there are super troops and the button is green on top of them and it says activate. So you can activate super troops directly from this menu without visiting the sauna. And we're going to click the super wall breaker and activate those as well. The same time also applies that it currently is in the game. So they are now active in the sauna for 2 days, 23 hours, and we can now use them in our army as well. Same rules apply when it comes to requesting of the clan castle troops, and that's pretty much it in regard to army compositions being shared between clanmates. All right, so let's go ahead and do one more thing, which would be a friendly challenge, and we can start that amongst ourselves by pressing attack. You'll be brought into the menu, very similar to what you saw in the training tab itself. The only difference is this one's labeled as the friendly army, and you can construct an entirely different army for friendly challenges yourself, or you can go over to the army recipes tab and you'll see a drop down. There's a little arrow and you can click that and select one of the armies that you have saved to apply in friendly battles. That same thing will also apply to clan wars as well. So you don't necessarily have to reconstruct an army every single time. You can just choose from one of the options that you have listed in your army recipes and then click attack just like you would normally do in the current version of the game. And I believe that's pretty much it when it comes to the changes for Clash Anytime. The only thing that I'm not really able to show is a clan war because I don't have enough accounts to start a clan war by myself in the developer build. But I think when it comes to donations, it's going to work the same exact way. When you're donating to clanmates, you're going to have to use resources to fill those clan castles. And one thing that I think I forgot to mention is that if you are a gold pass buyer, 1 gem donations still apply and should work the same exact way for donating to your clanmates. Let me know down in the comments below how you feel about this new user interface. To me, this is a mega change for Clash of Clans.